Welcome once again to Greensboro Glimpses, and thanks so much for joining us for the program. I'm very happy to have as my guest on this program David Holley. David is professor of music at UNC Greensboro. He's director of the award-winning opera program at UNCG, outstanding singer in his own right. But since June of 2013, he's had another title that he's very excited about and very anxious to talk about on this program. That is the director of Greensboro Opera. David, first of all, thank you so much for joining us.
Great, thanks. Glad to be here, Jay.
Let's talk a little bit first about Greensboro Opera. You might tell us a little bit about how that came about. You were so involved with UNCG and busy. How'd you get involved with Greensboro Opera?
Well, I've been in Greensboro since 1992 in my capacity as director of opera at UNCG, and I've done everything for the opera company from the Super Titles in 1993 to singing in the Magic Flute, and then I was the chorus master for about 5 years, and then have collaborated the UNCG Opera Theater and Greensboro Opera on Opera at the Carolina, which brings opera to every fifth grader in Guilford County every February, and I've been doing that since 2002. And so I have had my hand in the things that the opera company is doing ever since I've been here. And then Tom Fillion of the Arts Council, which is now Arts Greensboro, basically spoke to the Greensboro Opera and to me and said we should collaborate. So we kind of made it more an official collaboration where they helps with some marketing for UNCG Opera Theater and contribute some funds to help our productions. And we actually help them with some in-kind things like the use of ACOC Auditorium and marketing on our end of it. And we co-produced a couple of galas for 17 days. And it's kicked off a great symbiotic relationship. And then last February or March, we started talking about formalizing the relationship where they approached me and asked me if I was interested in being artistic director. And we ironed out details and announced it in June.
Now, with the Greensboro Opera, I would assume you'd lean more toward the professional side, and you don't have a
There are
cadre of
certainly
students
lots of other considerations for that. You want to consider maybe what the city would like to hear, what the Triad region would like to hear. You might want to think about what tickets, would sell a lot of tickets. We're actually getting back on stage in January of 2015. Greensboro Opera's not produced a staged opera since 2010. Yeah. In 2015, we're doing Donizetti's The Daughter of the Regiment, which has got Tonio, the tenor that sings all the high C's, and we've actually hired Rene Barbera to be our Tonio. And the connection with Rene, he was an undergraduate student at School of the Arts back in the about 5 or 6 years ago, and he was the winner of the Lynham competition, which I started at UNCG to honor my dear colleague Charles Lynham. And Dima Sitkevetsky was one of the judges. One of the prizes of that contest from the very beginning was an appearance with the symphony, and Dima recognized the brilliance of Rene and his voice. Rene won the competition with Tonio's aria from The Daughter of the Regiment, and Dima hired him, and he sang, I think he sang Una Furtiva Lagrima and that aria with the symphony, and it came back the next fall. And then he just won Domingo's Operalia in 2011 with that aria. So we're excited to bring him back and to build the production around him.
You mentioned the NOA, the National Opera Association. I believe, if I'm correct, you're assuming the presidency of that organization this year, aren't you?
You've done your research, Jay. That is correct. In January, actually, next week, actually next Wednesday, weather permitting, I'll fly to New York, and it'll be the annual convention. And I've been the president-elect for the past 2 years, and I become president. And I'm very excited because for the convention in 2015, they've asked Greensboro to host it. So it's in New York this year. It was in Portland last year. It was in San Antonio, Atlanta, all these larger cities. And Greensboro is going to host the National Opera Association convention in 2015. And the Daughter of the Regiment that Greensboro Opera is doing on the 9th of January is going to be the signature event of that convention. So it's like a perfect storm. I become president. We get to host the convention. We produce Daughter of the Regiment at the convention, and it's a win-win for everybody.
How much of your time will that take? I bet.
A lot of my time. Well, like most stage productions, a lot of it is done in advance. All the singers, everybody will be hired in advance. The scenery will be designed in advance, and so really that 2-week period where you're putting the opera together, that's intense, but probably 1/3 of the work. Now the convention, there'll be a committee and there'll be a local chair, and that'll start. I mean, the convention in New York will end on the 12th or whatever the next Sunday is, and then we'll start planning. We'll have a mid-year meeting here in June, or end of May, June, and that'll be a 12-month process to plan the convention, because it's a big deal. Like this year, Stephanie Blythe is the keynote speaker, and there's all kinds of sessions for singers, conductors, pianists, opera professionals, and educators alike.
Labor of love, though, isn't it? Yeah. Now, how about Greensboro Opera? Shifting gears just a little bit, about how long will it take you to mount one of those productions?
Now that's purely professional. The casting is done. The professionals are expected to come to Greensboro with their part. And in fact, most of the people that I would hire in productions for Greensboro Opera will have already done the role. Renee's already sung Tonio in The Daughter of the Regiment, so it's really just, if he's been away from it a while, he just brushes it up, and they come. We'll do a sing through, and then we'll stage it in 4 or 5 days. Because it's being done in January, I'm probably going to stage the chorus throughout the fall semester. It'll be a professional chorus that's paid, made up, a combination of our students and folks that are local in town. But I'll probably do all that staging in October or November and have that ready to go, so that then when the new year comes, we'll put it all together. So it's a totally different animal. Sure, absolutely totally different.
Any productions planned during 2014? Anything you'll be doing this year?
Well, the Greensboro Opera, like I said, has done a collaboration with the Easter Music Festival. That'll be in July.
Okay.
That'll be at Temple Emmanuel, I think the second weekend of July, and it'll be more of a cabaret type thing, maybe musical theater. So last year we did From Verdi to Broadway, and the whole first half was all Verdi because it was the bicentennial of his birth. And then in the last week in September, third week in September, we'll do the gala, which will be part of 17 days, and then the production in 2015 January. So it'll be a season.
Yeah.
More to look forward to than just one performance on one night.
Well, David, thank you so much for being with us on the program and sharing. This has been very interesting and very enlightening. And congratulations to you in your role as president of the NOA and the artistic director of Greensboro Opera, and of course your continued work at, I'm sure, many more award-winning UNCG productions.
Well, Jay, thanks so much for having me.
You bet, David. Thank you so much. And as always, we thank you for watching our program.